We're back, people.
We are back.
And fuck it, we're not going live.
We're not going live. Can't do the Bill O'Reilly today.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
So sorry, guys.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of Queen West Living, the podcast. What do we call this
Conversations
one
in Queen West.
Conversations in Queen West. And today, this episode is going to be on condos, chaos, and confusion. We're going to try to break down exactly what we're seeing in the condo market. And if you like this type of content and you want more of it, please smash that subscribe button, like and comment on this video. We appreciate it. Thank you. So I'm here with Mandy Lee, Stefan Lupel, Kyle Bridson here, and our office is located in Queen West, and we're actually right across the street, sitting in this beautiful condo that just came to market at just under $600,000. Mandy would like to talk to you about what we did to bring it to market.
Thanks, Kyle.
It looks good, guys. Truthfully, like I walked in, I'm like, oh, this is nice.
Thanks. It did.
So that's the emotion. That's the emotional reaction,
yeah,
right?
It was a lot of work. We banged it out in a week. There was a million shelves on the wall, holes for days. So contractor came in, filled all the holes, touched up the paint. We did new light fixtures, bathroom tap, staging. Yeah, looks great.
It looks really good. Good job, team.
Thanks.
A week to get it ready.
Thanks. And we moved everything ourselves, which was super fun.
Yeah, we did a lot of the moving, which was painful, but also because no one likes moving. But we were on a time crunch. We wanted to get it done. So, hey, and now we're here and the place looks absolutely perfect. So we just need to get some of those first-time home buyers to come out of the woodwork here, so to speak.
And that's get them out.
Yeah, and that's kind of what our discussion is going to be today on condos, chaos, and confusion.
I mean, those first-time home buyers, they are out there, you know? Like, I mean, I'm having pretty decent conversations with some people, but there still is a lot of hesitancy, for sure. Like, we know it, we see it, we hear people's opinions about it. I mean, you've had conversations with people, too, lately about for
Lots
whatever
on the sidelines.
Psychological barrier they have, right? You know? But I mean, really, when you look at just like, in reality, the numbers, like fundamentally, it actually should be a good time to buy. Mortgage rates have come off, and people's incomes have actually risen quite a bit over the last few years, maybe due to inflation, but also like the people that are qualified to buy a home, like they have good, secure jobs. Like we know people in the city that have really good jobs. And so I mean, I've helped a lot of first timers in the past year because, like they have a long-term goal of owning. Right. So is that some of what you're hearing, or is that, tell me about even some of the hesitancy of what people are saying to you?
I mean, a couple of the conversations that I recently had was because there's so much inventory on the condo market, they're waiting for the prices to come down more.
Sure.
And I mean, I think they're going to keep waiting. The prices are only going to come down so much. I think they've already done that quite a bit. And I mean, you can't time the market. So if you can afford it and the time is good for you, then just get in and do it now.
Yeah. And the key word there, timing is good for you, right? Because it's personal. It's specific to the person. Whatever like life decision comes their way to make that commitment to a purchase, right? Because it is. We know it's a big life decision.
Yeah. For sure.
I honestly see like the bigger motivations of why people actually decide to buy is lifestyle reasons versus financial reasons. Personally, you know. They want to start a family, or they just want to plant roots somewhere. They've lived in the city for a while and they want to still live here 5 to 10 years. They have a plan, right? Could also be bad landlord relationships in the past.
Yeah.
Why people are motivated to own and live in their property rather than rent, right? So I hear tons of stories.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, just getting to do what you want, right? If you want to paint a wall, you just paint a wall instead of having to check with your landlord. You want to change something goes wrong, then you just fix it. Whereas if you have a slumlord, then maybe it's, you got taps dripping for a week before they show up.
100%.
So
yeah, I've heard crazy stories on the tenant side of things, just like neglect on the property and deferred maintenance or whatever. Just there's a whole bunch of slew of reasons of why people are just like over it, and they're just like, I just want more control over where I live, right?
Yeah.
I think the key too is to, especially if you're a first-time home buyer and you're looking to get into the market, it's a matter of just being ready, right? Have your pre-approval in place, have your deposit that's, a little bit more liquid so you can get at it. But being ready, because the opportunities right now in the market are there. And if you're ready, then you can jump on one. And we're seeing them. Like, yes, prices aren't, they're down. Are they going to, fall out? No. But there are some people that are sitting on properties that either have built up a lot of equity or they're just in a tough place, tight spot that they need to sell. And that's when you can pick up, a great price on a condo. So yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway really for first-time home buyers. And we need those first-time home buyers to come back to the market and start that cycle, right? So we can start, people can start moving up and start that whole real estate process cycle again. Because there's a lot of people that are sitting in these condos that want to move to townhouse or a
100%.
semi.
They're
or
looking for
detached,
townhouses
right?
and semis.
Yeah.
People that own condos, they put it on the market. They can't sell it because it's tough, right? Not a lot of condos are selling. It's literally like the top tier of the crop of condos that are selling. And then there's a whole bunch of like B, C, D grade condos that are just sitting, languishing on the market. Those people, they do have plans to like grow their family too, right? Like they're probably cramped in their current condo and they want to expand. Those are, right? Like they want a townhouse semi. If they can afford a detached, go for it, right?
So what would you say are the most like common motivations for someone that is looking to either buy or to rent?
Yeah.
Like what are their motivations in doing either of those?
I'm seeing motivation specifically for like just what I was talking about, like family growth, right? Like I'm feeling cramped and I want to, get a bigger living space. Or on the first time buyer side, it's more of like, I want my own security of shelter and I plan to live here for a certain amount of time. Toronto's my home and I don't want to deal with a landlord. Like that's on the first time buyer mindset, but then on the upsizing mindset, it's I need my space for my family to grow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, same. And if you're renting, then obviously you're paying somebody else's mortgage.
100%.
Whereas if you own your own place, then you're building equity and, that helps you go from the condo to the townhouse to the semi to the detached.
Yeah. And the mortgage math is mathing a lot better now these days relative to rent also. When you run the numbers on like mortgage payments and what a similar property with that mortgage payment would rent out for, it's pretty similar, right? Like just guys, calculate the numbers for yourself. It's starting to make sense.
I think we should we're going to throw it up there right now.
Yeah.
So you'll see sort of how this breaks down, the renting side versus the purchasing side and how the math is basically the same. And, we're seeing mortgage rates continue to go down. So it's only going to get better, right?
100%.
So this is a real opportunity, especially if, we have no competition whatsoever because there's so much inventory on the market.
Yeah. I just looked it up this morning. Actually, we have north of 7 months of inventory specifically for condos right now.
That's huge.
North of 7, right? Overall market is it's like 4.9, just under 5 months total, but 7 months for condos.
A big one for me is, I'd rather be purchasing than renting, just from a stability standpoint. I've, had a lot of my clients reach out to me and say, hey, I need to find somewhere else to move because, my landlord is taking back the property. They're doing renovations on the property. They're selling the property. There's a lot of reasons why the landlord so that having that stability in place, for me is huge. Also just a wealth building, right? I want to, ensure that my money isn't necessarily going into my investor or my landlord's pocket every month. And, you start adding that up year over year, $2,500 is $30,000 a year. You do that for 3 years, you're close to $100,000, right? So
do the math, people. See where you're at.
It's a large chunk of money that's going out, and really it's forced savings, right? Yes, you can invest that money into, other areas like the stock market. You can do that. But for me, and the third piece to this is, having a tangible asset, something that I can use, that I can, see, touch, feel, as opposed to a stock that's, on my computer screen and goes up and down. I like having that tangible side of it. So, yeah.
And a lot of people like that tangible asset part of it. Hard assets, actually, they tend to be more resilient than other asset options compared to stocks, compared to crypto, gold, all that stuff. Real estate actually tends to do quite well over a long period of time. Everybody has their preferences, of course, on how they invest their money. I'm not trying to give personal finance advice out here. But like I said, there's a lot of people, even in specific cultures, that like the idea of hard assets in real estate. Right?
For sure. I mean, and your stock can go down to zero, and I don't want to be like doom and gloom, but if your house burned down, you still have land value.
Yeah.
So,
and the insurance will pay out. You have fire insurance. Exactly.
Totally.
So all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. Should we talk about chaos? Part of our podcast today is about chaos.
Sure.
Should we talk about it? A little assignment story.
Yeah, I actually wanted to. Yeah, I want to hear more about this assignment story. Okay. I know that you had a random phone call from the U.S., right?
I did.
Which is what, through your TikTok? Is that what you said?
Yes, actually, this was somebody who found me from TikTok on one of my videos where I was talking about assignments in Toronto, and it was a New York area code. Picked up the phone. It was a woman. We had a nice chat. It was actually a pretty long conversation, and somewhat heartwarming, but also kind of chaotic at the same time. So I'll just get right into it. Woman said that she's helping her friend try to assign her condo, sell her condo to another person. The guy bought this condo, signed the contract in March of 2022. March of 2022, in case people weren't aware, was the peak of the market.
Yeah, okay? That was the boom time for condos.
Crazy period of time.
Pre-con.
I remember it. So let's talk about the numbers. This guy bought a 1+ den, 575 square foot condo for $827,000. And this was not in Toronto, guys. This was in Vaughan.
That's what blows my mind. He spent that much money.
He bought this condo in Vaughan for $827,000. Like, say, rough market value today, resale $550-ish.
Yeah.
Absolutely crushed. And so it's tricky because, I was breaking down the numbers, I followed up with this woman even via email because, I was like, okay, send me the agreement of purchase and sale, whatever contract that he signed, I'll take a look at it and review myself. Had a few moments to look at it, and I was like, man, this might be the worst deal I've ever seen on paper. Truthfully, it's up there with one of the worst deals I've ever seen. In order to be able to assign this condo, which he's hoping to, get some money out of it, right? He needs some liquidity. Of course, everybody needs some liquidity. The unfortunate thing about this situation is because the value of it has gone down so much, he's actually in a negative equity position. Negative equity, in case people weren't aware. It's when the value of your property has gone down so much that it's wiped out your deposits, any equity you have in the property, and you would actually owe money to the developer or the lender just to be able to assign this contract to another buyer. Okay? Really painful. Really, really painful position to be in. I literally said at that point, I broke down the numbers for her and I said, you know what, I don't know if I can do anything further for you. You should talk to a lawyer to see about what options you have on this.
So what sort of options do you think she has?
Honestly, I'm not in the position to advise her on those things, but it's not a good
your personal opinion.
My personal opinion.
What,
I mean,
what are people doing in these instances?
It's weird.
Are they walking? Are they with they're going to get sued by the developer?
And that's the thing, right? Canadians have the idea that okay, my property's gone down so much that I'm just gonna walk away, forfeit my deposits and walk away, right? And they think that they can do that. The thing is, if you do that route, the developer actually has the right to pursue you for damages for the loss that they sell the property in the future, because that's just the way that contract law for real estate is written in Ontario specifically. So, even if you say, oh, I'm just going to forfeit, the deposits or equity that I had, you might still owe some money. You might be seeing a court date as well from the developer. It just depends upon how it's handled, right? There are obviously, this is not just a one-off issue. There's various circumstances where, okay, if people do actually find the money to close on this property, they can get what's called a blanket appraisal, right? Blanket appraisals is, not to get too technical or mortgagey, but basically the there's a certain bank that has an agreement with the developer that just says, I'm going to appraise these condos at, whatever this person agreed to pay on contract, and they'll give you a loan at 80% LTV, and you have to come up with the 20%, right? So it's like exactly. So it's tricky. We're not going to get like too detailed on like the legality mortgage stuff, but there are options. There always are options to figure out. But again, I'm not qualified to give you all of the options. You should talk to a lawyer about what options are best for you if you are in that situation. So.
Scary stuff, really. Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to like flip the script here and maybe not talk about something real estate because that's what we always talk about.
Let's talk about something else.
But this is still kind of on the same vein in terms of like making passive income. Have you guys seen RoboTaxi?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it because I brought this to your attention the other day. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, RoboTaxi, Elon Musk has come out with this taxi service that's autonomous. So basically what they're proposing is that a purchaser, could be anyone on the street, any random person can buy one of these robo-taxis. We don't have a price right now, so I have no idea what the price would be. But they can use the robo-taxi for passive income whilst they're working, sleeping, or sitting on the couch. Yeah. Basically, this autonomous driving vehicle will drive you around and drop you off, and then it will go off and make you money by driving other people around, kind of like a taxi service.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this? Is this like I think it's cool. That's my thought. I think, if I can have something making me passive income, I think that's amazing. But how much is something like this going to cost?
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
It could be hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's the concept of short-term rentals for taxis.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what it is, right? Just to make it simple, individuals being able to buy these robo-taxis and rent them out, and you're setting the fees and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting concept. Of course, like my mind has so many questions. I'm like, that seems like too good to be true. Like that seems like great. But of course, I also think about, okay, well, capitalism works in a way where there tends to be some corporations, large mega corporations that maybe would, find a way to dominate and prevent individuals from being able to even do this business venture.
Well, we're already
right?
starting to see that on like the Airbnb side of things, right? Because we're starting to see a ton of like larger businesses or people opening and starting larger businesses that are, dominating Airbnb markets. And so like, that could potentially happen as well with something like this, right? Where the barrier to entry is just so large based on, I guess the cost, or is it only going to be like dealt with in the private sector? I don't know. These are all just like very interesting key points. If you have a statement or you want to chime in on the chat or you want to throw a comment, please. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
So many questions.
So many questions. It brings up like so many questions. I want to hear your opinion.
I don't know. I just heard about it today, but I thought it was fake, actually, when it first showed me the video. There's no steering wheel. There's no pedals. If it gets struck by lightning, I'm in a ditch. I can't take over. I don't know. I need time to digest.
Time to process?
Yeah.
And of course, on the regulation side, there's like so many risks that I foresee that, you're going to have a ton of regulation on that, right? Like safety, insurance things. Like what even if an individual like Kyle decides to own one of these things, what if it hits somebody? Is Kyle liable? Is this company liable? Right? I mean, I assume probably like there probably would be some sort of like third party insurance involved, that Kyle maybe would pay for in those situations, no doubt. But like still, that raises some questions.
Well, is it a thing of like, did my vehicle hit someone or did someone hit my vehicle? That's the question.
Oh, there you go.
Was someone walking across the street and
you can't even
jumped
see
out
the
at
back
it?
window, so you wouldn't
But
even
this
know.
thing is going to be littered with cameras. And if you've
It's true.
been into a Tesla before,
it will have evidence.
I've been into a Tesla. A friend of mine has it, and you can actually see, like when you're stopped at a stop sign or anywhere, you can actually see people walking. Like the cameras pick up people walking, and they show up as like I don't know, AI generated people.
I've seen what you're talking about on screen, on video.
So now you'll have like, I guess from every angle, this thing will record. So if someone like jumps into the car and says, "Oh, you hit me," like, well, it's recorded, right? I don't know. There's just obviously you can go down so many
many rabbit holes with that. Holy, that's
Yeah.
But I think it's cool in the sense of like, especially in larger metropolitan cities like this, to be able to just jump in, and I know you said this, but to be able to just jump in like an Uber, you can do that now, but to be able to make passive income and someone like us owning one of these and having it drive, I think that's great. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see where this goes, but super interesting.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable that it will happen, right?
Yeah.
I just see the way that the trends are going for automation. Definitely will happen.
Yeah.
But of course, so many questions.
How are we going to handle it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for being here. And if you like this type of content and you want more, please hit the subscribe button and like and comment on this video, and we'll see you on the next one.